Hello viewers, I am Mrs.M.Govindammal, Assistant Professor of Computer Applications, SFR College for Women, Sivahasi. Today I am going to discuss about forms in HTML. Now let us see the introduction of HTML. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It is used to design web pages using a markup language. It is a combination of hypertext and markup language. HTML uses predefined tags and elements that tell the browser how to properly display the content on the screen, and form is one of them. Now let us see forms in HTML. Form is a HTML element to collect input data with containing interactive controls. It provides facilities to input text, number, values, email, password and control fields such as checkboxes, radio buttons, submit buttons, etc. Or in other words, form is a container that contains input elements like text, email, number, radio buttons, checkboxes, submit button, etc. Forms are generally used when the user wants to collect data from the user. Now let us see, forms are created by placing input field within a paragraph, formatted text, list and tables. This gives considerable flexibility in designing the layout of forms. Now let us see the elements of forms. First one is input element, which is used to get the input data from the form in various types such as text, password, email, etc. by changing its type. Second one is button, which defines a clickable button to control other elements or execute a functionality. Third one is select element. It is used to create a drop down list. Fourth one is option, which tag is used to define the options in a drop down list. The last one is TextArea element, which is used to get input from long text content from the user. Now let us see the input element. An input element can be displayed in many ways depending on the type's attributes. The HTML input element is the most used form element. Input type equal to text, which displays a single line text input field. Next one is input type equal to radio, which displays a radio button for selecting one of many choices. Input type equal to checkbox, which display a checkbox for selecting 0 or more of many choices. Input type equal to submit, which display a submit button for submitting the form. The last one is input type equal to button, which display a clickable button. Next we move on, text boxes in HTML form. In an HTML form, we use the input tag by assigning the type attribute value to text to input single line input. The default value of the type attribute is text. Here is the syntax, input type equal to text. Now let us see text field. The input type equal to text, which defines a single line input field for text input. Now let us see the password element in HTML form. Here the syntax are available, input type equal to password. User can change the type value text to password to get the input as password. It defines a single input field for text input. Here is the example for password element. In the above example, we can see the difference between type text and type password. The username will be visible, but the password will not be visible. Now let us see the radio button element in an HTML form. To create a radio button, we use the input tag following by radio type to provide users to choose a limited number of choices. Here is the syntax, input type equal to radio, name equal to radio button name, value equal to radio button value. The value attribute defines the unique value which is associated with each radio button. The value is not shown to the user, but the value that is sent to the server on submit to identify which radio button that was selected. Here is the example for radio button. Input type equal to radio, which defines a radio button. The radio button let a user select one of limited number of choices. Next. Now let us see the checkbox element in an HTML form. To create a checkbox in an HTML form, we use the input tag followed by the input type equal to checkbox. It is a square box to tick to activate this. It is used to choose more options at a time. Syntax, input type equal to checkbox, then name equal to select box name, then value equal to select box value. Here is the example of checkboxes. The input type equal to checkbox, which define a checkbox. Checkboxes let a user select 0 or more options of a limited number of choices. Here is the example of checkboxes and option button. Next, now let us see the combo box in an HTML. Combo boxes used to create a drop-down menu in our form which contains multiple options. So, to create a combo box in an HTML form, we use the select tag with option tag. It is also known as a drop-down menu. In the HTML form, submit button is used to submit the details of the form to the form handler. A form handler is a file on the server with a script that is used to process the input data. Here is the syntax of submit button. Button type equal to submit and then close button. The input type equal to submit, which defines a button for submitting the form data to a form handler. The form handler is typically a file on the server with the script for processing input data. The form handler is specified in the form's action attribute. Now let us see the text area of element in an HTML form. In the HTML form, a text area is used to add comments or reviews or addresses to the form. In other words, the text area is a multi-line text input control. It contains an unlimited number of characters. The text renders in a fixed width font. The size of the text area is given by rows and calls attributes. To create a text area in the form, use text area tag. Here is the syntax for text area. Text area name equal to name of the text area and then display the content. Finally, we close the text area tag. The name attribute is used to reference the text area data after it is sent to a server. These are all the elements of forms in HTML. Thank you, girls.